Hey guys, we're just here enjoying a lazy Sunday at home and we got a little hungry, so we're gonna make you guys some great Halloween pumpkin pasta inspired by this bag of pasta that we got from Home Goods Store. So get ready for a tasty treat. I'm gonna put on my apron and I'll be back in a snap. Okay guys, this pasta is super simple to make. It's great for date night and awesome for fall season. It has all those flavors that you really want, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, pumpkin. It's just an overall well-rounded, hearty pasta that's just gonna make you feel good after eating. But before we get started cooking, I just wanna give a shout out to my mother-in-law who created this amazing apron for me that has zombie pinup girls. I mean, how great is this fabric? So thank you for that, and I will be using it a lot for sure. So you're gonna need your basic produce. We got some sage, garlic, shallots. You got can of pumpkin. Any type of puree of pumpkin is fine. Black olives for garnish. You're gonna need some olive oil. We have the famous pasta. Butter, mozzarella cheese, heavy whipping cream, and chicken broth. Okay guys, the first thing we need to do is cook the pasta. So the basics of any pasta is to start off by salting your water. You want to make sure that you have enough salt to give a little flavor to the pasta. And then, if you want to, I always do, I drop a little bit of olive oil in the water so the pasta doesn't stick together. You want it to get up to a high boil and then dump in your pasta. So we kind of already have a head start. I'm going to just toss this in. I'm going to give that a little whirl. And I'm going to let that cook up for like 5 or 6 minutes because these pastas are tiny. But you could always read the back of your box of pasta and see how long you need to boil it for till it's al dente. Okay guys, the first thing we're going to do is cut up some shallots. You're going to have to peel them and then dice them. I would say 2 shallots is probably enough for your sauce. If you like it to be very, very flavorful, I would recommend adding another shallot, but I think 2 should be suffice. So we're gonna just peel these shallots and then dice them up, and that's probably gonna be the first part of our sauce. So we wanna do this first before anything else. All right guys, so we're just gonna dice up these shallots, and please don't ever cut the way I do. I'm not a professional and I have my own techniques. I'm left-handed, so sometimes I do things a little bit different than most. And I know it's dangerous that I cut really close to my fingers, but it's just how I cut. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna peel some garlic. 3 cloves should be good for this recipe. So what we're gonna do is first we have to take out the outer layer of the garlic. I do an old-fashioned technique where I just smush the garlic with my hand. It does create stinky hands, I won't lie, but it's the way I learned how to cook. And I don't use the back of the knife like some chefs do, but I do smush it and then I chop it after. So it's a very old school technique that I learned from my grandmother. So we're gonna just peel this garlic. I like a lot of garlic, but feel free to make like accommodations to your recipe. You don't have to have so much garlic. You could have a lot more garlic, whatever you like. I mean, this is kind of like go with the flow recipe. And then we're just gonna chop it up. If you want, you can mince it, or you could use one of those presses to get the garlic really tiny. But you know, once again, we like chunks in our food, so we're gonna just dice it up a little bit. And then I'm just gonna place it right on top of my shallots because they are going to be cooked at the same time. So it doesn't matter if they're mixed up together. You don't have to use a separate bowl. But that's about it. Now I'm gonna just transfer it right here on top of my shallot. So the next thing I'm gonna do is set aside half the sage for some garnish. We're gonna make some pumpkin toppers with this sage, but I'm also gonna slice some sage to mix into the pasta at the very end of the recipe. So that's what I'm gonna do. Basically, you just don't wanna use any of the stems, so just like, you know, cut those little stems off. And then for this recipe, I think I'm gonna go for a slicing technique where we're gonna have like thin little strips of sage that we're gonna mix into the pasta sauce. So I'm gonna make a few of these and I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, we kind of sliced up some of the sage. That's the sage that's going into the sauce. And then we kept the whole sage without the stem in full. And that's gonna be our garnish for our pumpkins. Usually people won't eat this part of the sage, but this is gonna give the flavor to the pumpkin pasta. So this pasta looks about done. So I'm gonna take it off the stove and give it a quick drain. These kind of pans are super great because you just lift them and all the water comes out. And I'm gonna give it a quick rinse. We don't have to rinse it too much because this is gonna be a creamy pasta and the starches will definitely help it, you know, be a smooth, nice pasta. So we're just gonna give it a quick rinse and let it drain while we do the rest of the legwork. So the first thing you want to do when you start cooking is use like 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to let that heat up really good so that we can start cooking the shallots and the garlic in it. And that process is going to take like around 5 minutes to do.
5 minutes later.
Okay, so we're just going to pour this whole thing in there. Just give it some heat. Sorry guys, I know I'm left-handed, I'm always blocking the camera, but we're gonna just let this saute in the oil. And you'll know the shallots are ready when they're almost clear. You do see a color change. But you also don't want to burn them and make them taste bitter by putting the heat too high. So we just want to like slowly cook these for, I would say 4 to 5 minutes. And they will make you cry, they are strong. And I do believe in drawing out your flavors. You know, usually when we cook, we don't eat with a lot of salt here, but since we're making this on a special occasion, we're gonna put a pinch of salt because, you know, bringing out your flavors little by little does make the food taste a little heartier. So we're gonna add 2 cups of chicken broth to the shallots and the garlic. And that's going to be the base to our sauce. So just toss that in. Give it a stir and let it boil. You guys are going to see how easy the sauce is. Just let that come up to a boil. And then we're going to add the pumpkin. Now that it's boiling, we're going to want to add the pumpkin in. It's gonna take 1 full can of pumpkin.
A few minutes later.
So now we're gonna pour in 1/2 cup of cream. This is gonna create a very creamy texture to our sauce. Give it some lightness. Doesn't that look good? Okay, the first spice we're gonna add is nutmeg. You're gonna wanna do like about 1/2 tablespoon, and I know I shouldn't be doing this over the pot, but you know, that's how I roll. So we're gonna do about 1/2 tablespoon of nutmeg. Make sure you stir it in so you could incorporate it. For the cinnamon, we're gonna double up. And I know a lot of you guys are scared of cinnamon. I use it a lot in cooking. I even put it in my lentil soup. Cinnamon's a great flavor, and I think we all associate it with being a little sweet, but it's actually a full body flavor, and it does bring a lot of taste to your food. So I would say like 1 tablespoon would actually be great in this recipe. And it's going to give you a lot of spice to your sauce. The next thing we're going to add is a pinch or 2 of salt, just to make sure we have enough flavor to our sauce. Since we are making it from scratch, we want to make sure that we definitely season enough. So I would say a few pinches of salt, not too much, would do. And then, if you guys are feeling a little bit risque, I would suggest that you add a little splash of cayenne pepper just to give it that heat factor, but it's not necessary, but we're going to do it. Because, you know, we like everything spicy here. So just a little bit. You don't want to put too much, just to give it some heat. Okay guys, so this is starting to look great. We're just gonna let it boil some more and thicken up. And then we're gonna add the sage and some butter, because you know butter makes everything taste delicious. So look how thick that's getting. Looks amazing. We are gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. That's just gonna give it some added flavor. Now this is not a healthy recipe. It does have cream and butter, but it is sure to please. So now I'm gonna take that sage and I'm gonna sprinkle it in. I think I'm gonna not put all of it. I do feel like sage is such a powerful flavor. So I would say probably like 5 leaves of sage is enough. You're just gonna stir that in. Let it boil for like a minute more just to incorporate into the sauce, and then I'm gonna remove it from the heat. Now since the sauce is done, I'm just gonna incorporate the pasta. You know, we like a lot of sauce, so I'm not scared to dump the whole entire pasta into this. I'm also gonna let it absorb the sauce a little bit. Like I said, you could use any type of pasta. We just really thought this Halloween pasta suited the season. And you could probably find this kind of pasta at Target, Walmart. We found it at Home Goods. Usually I don't like to necessarily buy food from Home Goods because I don't know how long it's been there, but I couldn't resist. The shapes were too cute. And so we decided to let it be our inspiration for dinner tonight. So now we're starting the garnish part of this dinner. So we're gonna start off with our sliced olives. You're gonna just open them and drain them. You could transfer them to a little bowl. We're gonna be making eyes with it, so we're not gonna actually use the whole can, but you know, maybe just 2 slices. We're also gonna take this mozzarella and open it up. Mozzarella is gonna just add a little more creaminess to this pasta. We're gonna use it as a garnish, but we're also gonna mix it into the recipe when we eat it. So, you know, mozzarella is just comfort food for me, so this is one of my favorite parts. What you're gonna do is the first thing you need to worry about is making eyes for your pasta. So we're gonna take a thick slice of mozzarella. We're gonna need 4 because we're making 2 plates today. You know, date night. 1 for me, 1 for the hubby. Okay? You usually take the edge pieces. And these are gonna be our eyes. The other pieces I'm gonna make pumpkin teeth with. So I'm gonna slice them a little bit thinner and start carving away. So for the teeth, you might want to have some triangle teeth. So we'll do some triangles. Okay, so now I'm just giving it one final spin. It's been sitting for a minute, absorbing all this great sauce. And now I'm gonna serve it into some bowls. So we got these amazing bowls at Home Goods. I mean, they're definitely on it for Halloween this year. We only could find 3, so I'm so disappointed. So if anyone knows where to get more, please let me know. We're just gonna fill these bowls so that we can make some pumpkins with them. I'm gonna load them up. So the first thing I'm gonna do is build my pumpkin eyes. They're big eyes. You know, we're improving here. I'm gonna put the round part down into the pasta and just mush them in. And now we're gonna do the pumpkin sprout with the sage leaves. You could use basil too, and I think that probably would taste really good with this pasta. Basil kind of goes with whatever, so you know, do what makes you happy. Okay guys, so nothing goes better with pumpkin pasta than some great beer. So we went in for pumpkin beer, but they didn't have, so we had to settle for Samuel Adams Oktoberfest, which is a great beer anyways. So, you know, Hubby's gonna love this. Cheers. So I tried to twist this off and it didn't work. So I'm gonna open it with a bottle opener now. If I can. Cheers.
Cheers.
How did you like the pasta, babe?
It was delicious. And I expect for you to have the same thing for me tomorrow.
You better not be lying. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in and watching this video. We had a great time cooking with you. We wanted to get some pumpkin beer today because we want to announce that our next video will be us going around to different breweries in the area and trying pumpkin beers at different locations. So we will bring you that video and we will rate the beers and see if they really do taste like pumpkin.
And we'll also be rating the bars on their Halloween decor. We'll see who we think is the best and who ends up being the best. So,
well, tune in next time to the Creatures of the Night.
cheers.
Cheers.